podcast, Defensive uh, Education. So I hope everyone's having a good week, getting some good studying in. Pretty excited about our guest tonight. Another success story, and one of the things I love is to share a good success story because what these do is they just show you that this could be done. You know, people are getting jobs in the industry without experience. I mean, they've got the experience, of course, from studying and working in their home labs and all that kind of stuff, that type of experience, but no actual on the job experience. So I'm very excited to share that story with you. But just some kind of things to start off with. If you haven't checked out the podcast yet, I highly recommend it. There's some folks on there each time that are people that have been in the industry for a while. Some people that are just fairly new to the industry, and they kind of share their story and how they got started. Uh, Coming up Friday, I have Louis Neffinger from Pentester Lab. He's my guest, and that one's going to be a really, really good one for you to check out. And I just recorded an episode with Joe Vest. He is a director for Cobalt Strike, so he's worked for um, Spectrops, as the shirt I'm wearing tonight, Spectrop shirt. He's worked for Spectrops. He got started out when red teaming was first getting started, so he has a lot of good information to share, and I think you'll like that. Also, I still have some virtual tickets to Texas Cyber Summit. If you want to attend virtually, use that code as you're checking out through Eventbrite. There's a section for uh, to put a code in there. You can put a discount code in there, and you get a free pass. So that's worth checking out. It's a 3-day conference, and so that one out there is for you to check out. So take that, share it if you want to. I was given like 100 virtual passes to give away, so trying to give those all out. Thanks for the comment on the shirt. So yeah, this is uh, I got this from Spectrops training last year. I went for the red team training last year, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun. Got to meet Harm Joy there as well as Joe Vest. Joe Vest was still working for Spectrops at the time. So yeah, welcome everyone, and good to see Crash Fry on and Ghost and Zero Sploits. Good to see everyone on here. Thanks for joining again. This is going to be a good episode. We got Mike Padrick on here, aka Fearless. So I've been excited to hear his full story. I heard that he got the job, but to get a little more detail on that, he will kind of share what he's done, and also any kind of tips that he has. But I'm really looking forward to hearing his story and hearing about this new job. So just one of the things there is hey, Cyber Columbiana, long time no see. Thanks for joining. Good to see some folks I hadn't seen in a while. Hey, Carl, good to see you too. So yeah, at any rate, he's got a really cool story. Mike's a good guy, and he's worked hard. And just one of the things, if anything, lesson you can take from Mike is hey, the Cyber Mentor's on. Yeah, so you draw a good crowd, Mike. I may have to have you on more often. So without further ado, I present to you Mike Padrick, aka Fearless.
Hey,
Welcome to the show.
thank you for having me. And yeah, Heath does need a new pool man now. Sorry, don't do that anymore.
Well, maybe you could do some videos on pool maintenance for people to get started in that industry, maybe.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us about your job what are you going to be doing?
So I am going to be a red team operator and penetration tester with the Federal Reserve Bank. And the way that happened, there's a really, really long story, and I know we've got an hour to kill, so I can get into it.
Sure.
So basically, very, very long story short, last year, no, actually, it's not even going to be short. That's a lie. Last year, June-ish, I got hooked up with a guy by the name of Joe Helly. Not really, kind of more in passing. I saw him in the Cyber Mentors Discord, and he was pushing at the time virtual hacking labs. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to get better at what I was doing. I knew this was the path I wanted to go down. And yep, the mayor. And so the mayor, if you guys know him, and so I was kind of going down that path, doing a little bit better, and then Heath, 2019, I think it was, had a scholarship that he put on, and over like 2,000 people applied, and I made it to the top 10. He and I had a conversation. That was part of it. I didn't make the number one spot. Not a big deal. I ended up getting into what he considered like the top 10, and we all kind of helped each other out a little bit there. But because of getting into that spot, Joe actually offered to mentor me. And so from being this pool man who thought that the only way you can make it in this industry was to have the highest rank on Hack the Box, knowing nothing else, Joe really took me above and beyond any sort of skill level I could have had at that time. So during that time, I had already applied for, I'm sorry, not applied for, I had already started the OSCP path. I had the PWK, I was going through it all. And I was hating every second of it. I'm going through the PWK and my eyes are rolling in the back of my head. I'm watching the videos and they were good, but it was something about it I could not keep my interest. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm making a mistake. I'm making a mistake, and it's a very expensive mistake that I'm making right now because I've already spent $1,400 on this test. I'm about to spend 30 grand on my degree. It's not going well for me. And then that's kind of where Joe came in. He was helping me out more with virtual hacking labs. And then I don't know how to phrase this properly, but he taught me how to learn. Basically by teaching me how to Google and knowing what to Google, how to Google what I'm looking for. And that's a skill in and of itself. So while I'm going through all of that, keep in mind, I'm working 12, 13, 14 hours every day cleaning pools. Heath wasn't joking. He was kind of joking when he said he needs a new pool man, but that's what I did. I cleaned pools for a living. And so I'm in people's backyards and I'm listening to Udemy courses. I'm in people's backyards listening to YouTube videos. I'm going through different, it wasn't available at the time when I first started, but later on down the line, I'm on TCM Academy, and I had an INE premium membership and I downloaded the app and I was listening to the videos, kind of going through all while I'm cleaning pools, just trying to learn a little bit more and a little bit more. So this whole time I'm still learning, but not gaining any sort of experience. So I went through and I'm talking to Joe and he's telling me that I need to, do this, do that, network, and then he taught me how to hunt for CVEs. While I was a pool man, before I even got a job, I earned my first CVE. It was a stored cross-site scripting CVE, and put that on my resume, and that helped me out a lot. But that was just a few months ago. That was in June of this year. Before that, I got my EJPT, I got my ECPPT certificates, and I graduated from college. And I had my family to care for also. So I wasn't just working 12 hours a day. I wasn't just studying every chance I got, coming home, going straight to my computer. I had a 6-month-old when I started college. She's 5 now. My son, he's 16 now. I was helping him. I was trying to keep a relationship up with him. My daughter, my wife, who just commented, "Hi, babe, persistence pays off." She, I was trying to be a good husband for her, still do things around the house. It was always a struggle, but man, was it worth it in the end. Everything paid off eventually. And I can go deeper into any aspect of that story you want. I just kind of hit the highlights of it all.
Sure. Let's see. That's really cool. I mean, that's one of the tips that I've heard Joe talk about and see his write ups on the CVEs. I think that's an awesome
Mhm.
idea because one of the things that you hear so many times, people are looking for CVEs, and that's an awesome suggestion and a very very cool idea. So yeah, let's see. Kind of where did you start out when you were learning? Where did you start out learning?
So, first thing I did is I went to YouTube. Um, well, let's back up a little bit. I had a
Okay.
professor in college, and I had him 3 different times. And he basically he called me annoying. All right, he just straight up called me annoying. He goes, "You just keep digging. You want to know. You don't stop wanting to learn. You keep going. You keep going further and further and further. You get an answer. You're not satisfied. You want to know why the answer is. You want to know how the answer works." And that is the mentality of a penetration tester. That's the route I think you should at least look at. Maybe not go down, but look at it. And I went, "Great. What's a penetration tester?" And then he explained it to me, and kind of went from there. Um, so while I was studying how to be a penetration tester, I went onto YouTube and I found a gentleman by the name of Hackersploit, and loved his videos. And I was watching all of his videos, and then he said the P word. um, so another suggested video was from the Cyber Mentor. So I looked at his stuff, and then I became a fan of both. And then I went, what can I do? What more can I learn? Like, this is awesome stuff. This is really fun. So then I just went down a YouTube rabbit hole, and that's kind of how I started.
Cool.
Yeah. The way I got my first hands-on experience was through Hack the Box. I went on and I had no idea what I was doing, and I went, and this is before I had a paid membership. I was like, I don't know if I want to spend $10 a month learning something if I'm not going to do it. It was really, really early on for me anyway, which was only a year and a half ago, but early on enough. And I'm sitting here going, how am I supposed to learn how to hack and do all these different things on Hack the Box if they won't tell me what I'm doing wrong? I can't look up answers. What am I supposed to do? And I almost gave up right there and just went down a different path with the blue team. And then I learned that they actually give you walkthroughs for retired machines, paid $10, and went from there. And that's how I got my first hands-on experience. Well, hands-on.
Well, that's good. That's a good way because that's one of the things that's been like why the OSCP has worked for some people. Because when I was getting started out, I'd worked in security. At this point, I had 6 years as a sysadmin, and then I'd been in security since 2004 to 2012 when I got my pen testing job. So I'd learn how to hack. So I went through the OSCP and just going through hacking those machines and just the constant hacking that's one of the good things about that course. And now you've got all these other options and stuff like Hack the Box that you can work on before you even mess with the OSCP. Because I know for me, it took a lot of digging and studying. Because at the time in 2012, when I started the OSCP, you had Got Milk's blog out there, but there weren't a lot of good blogs. There weren't all the content creators that we have now. So now it's awesome. You've got a lot of different different options out there, and sometimes you've got really you got like the Cyber Mentor and the Mayor. They both have really good content, but maybe one of them you understand the way they explain things better. So now having all these options out there makes it good, and sometimes hearing it a third time sometimes helps it click. So
Yep.
so really, what really got things to click with you to start figuring things out?
Try Hack Me. Honestly, I went on there and I started going down that path. But kind of before I did Try Hack Me, I got onto Udemy before he went to his own platform, and I did the Practical Ethical Hacker course. That helped out a lot. And then I learned all the concepts. I learned more than I ever thought I could doing that one. Figured out how to set up my own home lab. That was nice. From there, it only kind of expanded. Granted, all through virtual machines because money's a thing, but whatever, right? I was able to do that and go from there. And then I went through Hack the Box, kind of did their write-ups, learned through their write-ups, kind of, but I didn't really understand the concepts. So then I went over to Try Hack Me and did their machines, and they had the beginning machines. They had their step-by-step processes, and I really liked that. And that's kind of what helped me get better, and I'm forever trying to do more and more, and I'm trying to do their hard boxes, their insane boxes, ones with less help or no help at all, now that I'm at that point. But to begin, Try Hack Me was where I kind of started. And then to kind of hone everything down, I went through Virtual Hacking Labs. And what I really liked about Virtual Hacking Labs was the fact that they gave you the PDF. And they have 3 levels: beginner, advanced, and advanced plus. So you have your beginner, and then you have your advanced. And not only will they give you hints as to what you're doing next, they don't let you do any sort of write-ups. They want everything to be secretive. And I understand that, and I get why. So they give you your hints, but then they also, for the first 2 levels, they say in their PDF, this is what we're dealing with, click here to learn more about it. We're dealing with this now, click here to learn more about it. And they help you, they guide you to the area instead of telling you how to do it. And that was a huge help as well. That really pushed me above and beyond where I could have been at that time.
Yeah, that is a good resource. I do like the way they kind of give you a little bit, and as it gets more difficult, they give you less hints and let you figure it out, which is a good thing. Just getting thrown in to figure it all out on your own sometimes can be pretty tough, but to kind of ease you into it, that's a good one. A good way of doing that. So yeah, you kind of commented on the Virtual Hacking Lab. Someone asked how you felt about it, so you kind of commented on that.
Mm-hmm. It's a great resource. It's expensive though, but it is outside of, if you can afford it, do it. Virtual Hacking Labs is great. It really did take me like one step further, and that was awesome. And then from there, I did INE, and we can get into that later if you have something else you wanted to talk about real fast.
Yeah. So what are some of the other resources? Because you mentioned INE. So how was that experience for you?
I love it. The way INE sets up their stuff is kind of the way I've learned. And Grimmy needs to be banned right now. No, I actually really liked it. The way they set their thing up is kind of how I learn. They have their whoa, move my desk. Sorry. They have Death by PowerPoint, which I'm not a fan of, but I get why it's there. And then they have their videos. And then what you've just learned, they have your labs on. And I like how they do that. I like how it's very targeted to what you're learning, and it's a lot of stuff you can learn. So I'm actually going through their EWP, their WAPT course right now to get the EWPT, and I really like how they've set it all up.
Yeah, that's a good one. Actually, I went through that back in. I didn't take the certification. I just went through the course because whenever I started out pen testing, probably the first year I was doing network and some web app, and then I got moved over to this team where I was doing just all application pen testing. So I need to really kind of improve my skills in that area, and I took that course. So I did that in their mobile pen testing course too, which was pretty good. And I actually liked it better. I took the SANS course back in 2014, like a year later, and I learned more from the eLearn or INE course. Was eLearn security back then, but from that course I did the SANS course, because the SANS course is good, but I think it was the 542 I think is geared more towards web app pen testing for people that do infrastructure pen testing, because based on the way it was when I took it, you wouldn't take that course and be a web app pen tester. There's just so much more to learn, but really good skills if you're an infrastructure pen tester.
I've also really liked Portsawyer Academy. I've been kind of interchanging the two for web app anyway.
Yeah, that's a good one. Have you checked out Pentester Lab?
I haven't done it yet, but I've looked into it. there's just there's so much to do, so much to learn. How do you have time for it all?
Yeah, that
You
gets
know,
pretty tough.
so
And if you get too much stuff, it's you jump around too much and not focus.
yeah, you don't learn anything that way.
So yeah, the Port Swigger stuff I used to use for my web app pen testing class when it first came out, they only had like a few sections, which wasn't too bad. But then the way it's grown from beginner all the way up to very advanced, it was so much in there is kind of hard to manage with your students. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good resource though.
Mm-hmm.
Looky there, Don. Don
Hey,
joined us.
speaking of Don, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Don, so December 2019, I took the OSCP for the first time. Failed miserably. Oh, it was almost comical if it wasn't so sad. and Joe rallied behind me. He got talking to Don, and Don, he and I have since become friends. But Don really, really pushed me, really helped me, and helped me get my membership currently with my INE subscription, and Joe helping me, Don helping me. Just there's guys in here, Hacks Guy, Grimmy. There's too many to name. Dylan is one of them. There's so many. I'm gonna forget if I try to name them all. They rally behind me so hard, and kind of what helps me push forward and keep going. I mean, my wife, yeah, I guess. I'm kidding, baby. I love you. But I was gonna do something. I was gonna do something in cybersecurity, but they really helped me to stay on the path that I'm on, and I'm really thankful that they did. So, and Husky's here too. Yeah, Husky for sure. Matt Kiley. I love that guy. He gave me the best nickname on Discord. If you see me on the channels that I'm in, for sure, he calls me Sir Fearless or Sir Mike the Gatecrasher, and I think that's awesome.
That is awesome. That's an awesome nickname.
So
that's good. That's awesome that you got a supportive wife, because this is all the time and effort you put into it. Not all people's spouses or partners are as accepting and supportive of that. So that's good that you had that.
Yeah. Port Swigger just announced their exam will be free before December 31st. I like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Hype guys are necessary. That's my wife. She's my hype woman. Let's go. So, but no, you're right. Absolutely right. You need that support. And if you don't really have that from your spouse, how are you supposed to succeed? My wife is amazing. And I'm not just saying that because she's watching. She is awesome. Like every now and then you'll see her joking around with me on Twitter too. So
yeah, that's a big commitment for your spouse to give up that much time with you, because I kind of know what you're going through there, because it's even as you get into this, you can spend a lot of time in this too. So especially if you like it, you're going to spend a lot of time, and there's so much stuff to learn too.
Mm-hmm. And Don is right. I did the work, but he helped me get there. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Don just said that, and he said that to me before as well. But there are just some resources that I never would have known about, and so.
Yeah, and it's helpful, and it's one of the good things too. If you remember Discord, just having people that you can talk to that can help you out, because a lot of times you trying to vet resources. I mean, if you go on Udemy, you can find, not everything is going to be the quality of Joe's and Heath's content. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes a crapshoot, and if you don't know what you're doing, then who knows what you're going to get, because you get some people that do courses on pen testing that just have read about ethical hacking and they really don't know what it's like. So there's a good chance you're going to be misled. Mm-hmm. So having good people that you can that can help you out can save a lot of time.
Absolutely. Wait, Joe has a course? I'm kidding.
I was going to say, yeah, you had me going there for a minute. So what would you do? Would you do it different now? Because I mean, you've come this far, and everyone makes mistakes and stuff. So if you were to do it over again, what would you do, or what would you recommend to someone else that's wanting to get into pen testing or red teaming?
I had so many things happen that felt like slam doors and felt like mistakes that only led to the next thing that helped me progress even further. So so I don't know how to answer that question as far as mistakes go and what would I do different. I'm afraid if I did anything different, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Um, if had I given up and just said, I didn't win the scholarship, screw this, and given up, I wouldn't have moved on to have Joe be my mentor. Had I failed the OSCP the first time and said, screw this, I'm done, I never would have moved on and gotten the EJPT and met Don and met a bunch of other really awesome people. Had I failed the OSCP the second time worse and said, screw this, obviously I'm not meant to do this, then I wouldn't have moved on and gotten my ECPPT. And had I not failed my OSCP a third time, I still don't have it. I still don't have the OSCP. I've failed that thing 3 different times. Now I want to get it out of spite.
Mm-hmm.
And said, screw this, then I never would have moved on and kept learning and kept fighting despite the fact that I failed. It's not about motivation. You can have all the motivation in the world. Eventually it will go away. It's about dedication. What are you willing to do day in, day out without having the motivation to do it? Can you sit there and say, I need to learn this. I don't want to learn it. I'm going to do it anyway. Can you do that? And that's what it comes down to. Sure, some days you give up. So some days you're like, you know what? I'd rather go play video games. You know what? Today I would rather literally scrape algae off of a wall because I don't want to learn today. I need a break. That's fine. Take your breaks. You need them. But you don't just give up. If you want something bad enough, you go for it, whether you have the motivation or not. Motivation will get you started, but it'll never let you cross the finish line.
Yeah, and one of the things you learn too, as we kind of talked before we got started, see Jen's on. Hey, Jen, good to see you on. Shiny buttons. So yeah, one of the things you don't realize sometimes too is you think of things that are failures, and sometimes you don't realize that sometimes those failures worked out for the good. Because didn't you say you applied for a SOC job? I mean, would you really want to give up the job you're going to do now be a SOC analyst?
No. I had, by the time I finally got this job, I had 87 applications out. I had 36 interviews. All of that equated to 2 job offers. I liked both. I wanted both. It really came down to who was going to pay more. That was it. I clicked with both teams. Oh no, I'm not trashing on the blue team, Grimmy, unless it's you. Grimmy knows I love him. So
yeah, and that's all a matter of what you like to do best. Because like I said, you really wanted to do, all the effort you were really putting into stuff was the pen testing related training and red team. So I mean, that's good that it worked out, because sometimes there's times I failed in my past and I thought were failures, and I'm doing what I'm doing now, and I wouldn't trade it.
Oh yeah, no. Realistically, I'm looking at today. I'm looking at the requirements for all these jobs. You need all these years of experience. You need all this knowledge. You need all of these certificates, none of which I had, to get a pen test job. I knew I could get them one day, and I knew that I could learn it all, but I didn't have them at the moment. Doesn't matter, apply anyway. A lot of those are just copy and paste. I saw an entry-level junior pen test gig that required a CISP. What? Right? just apply anyway. But I was also thinking realistically. I knew how hard it was going to be to have my very, very first job as a pen tester. So I applied to, right? Exactly. I applied to about 30% red team, 70% blue team because I like it. I like blue team. I that's what I focused on mainly in school. I despise digital forensics. That's about it. Everything else I really liked with the blue team, but I knew I really wanted to be on the red team. And so I just kind of rolled the dice and one of actually the two job offers I got were both pen test gigs. And those were only 30% of what I applied for.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
See, Hacks Guy had a question for you. So
Okay.
when was your time to sit and study? Did you set time aside for it, or you just get on it late at night? I basically only study late after wife and kids in bed.
Yeah, he stays up late. I'll be on at like 9 o'clock my time, and it's midnight for him, and he's going strong. Hex guy's awesome. But for me, well, now I can set aside any time of study, right? I don't, I've got some time off for now. Um, but at the time when I was cleaning pools, my study time really was what can I listen to during the day? How much of that can I actually remember? And then coming home and then trying to put that into practice. So I'd get up 5, 6 in the morning, get to work by about 6:15, 6:30. And I'd be out until about 6 at night, 7 at night. One awful time I got home about like 8:30 or 9. All cleaning pools, by the way, right? And I'm in people's backyards well after the sunset. And I'm sitting there listening to Heath Adams in my ear. Okay, so today, right? And that was my study time. If I wasn't dead tired, like about to pass out, I would get on, kids awake or not, I would get on and I would do a box or two if I had time to do more than two. I would play around with the Active Directory environment that I set up for an hour or two. And I would do anything I could. And then I always tried to set aside time once a week. And it hasn't happened in a while, but I always tried to set a time at least once a week, usually on Mondays, to stream. And I would stream a box that was more advanced, or I attempted to anyway, that was more advanced than where I thought I was. And oftentimes I would be looking things up during my stream and learning that way, learning with chat. And my goal for that wasn't really to root a box. It was to learn. It was to set aside dedicated time at least once a week and show that failure is a thing. People don't go on to an insane box and root it in 45 minutes unless you're John Hammond. But that just doesn't happen. And I wanted to show people it's okay to fail. That was also the only true dedicated study time I had. So, long-winded way to answer your question.
So Don had a comment that says double duty is a great way to keep up. I listen to podcasts and webinars while working out.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
So I need to have Don on here for an episode about working out, because you see the pictures from DEF CON, how in shape Don looked.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So a little bit ago, I don't know if we're doing AMAs yet, but Cybertish asked a little bit ago, how is the transition from working in the pool industry to tech? Mentally, how did it impact you and your life? And I'll answer that real fast.
Sure.
I had always wanted to do tech. I had always wanted to do IT. Anything, didn't matter what. I knew I wanted to work with computers. Back in the day, about 12 and a half years ago now, my dad, 12 and a half years ago, March of 2009, my dad needed help. He had rotator cuff surgery and carpal tunnel surgery. He was cleaning pools at the time. And I guess to get a little personal, my dad was a recovering drug addict as well. He needed the help, and he started taking the pills, and that is eventually what ended up causing him to pass away about 7 years ago, was a drug overdose. At that time, and this gets to the question, at that time I knew that I guess this is my life. And then I had the chance to get married. And then I had the chance to see my daughter and look my daughter in the eyes. And then that was the moment my mentality shifted. My daughter needed a father. My wife needed a husband. My son needed a father who wasn't miserable and angry all the time. They needed someone, they deserved someone who loved what he did, who was happy to be home, was happy to be with them. That was the mentality shift right then and there. It wasn't so much of a, was it hard on me and my family? Was it something that took effort to do? No, it was instant. It was, I'm already in the field. Now reality just has to catch up to me. And so when last Friday was my last day cleaning pools, my first day of work is later this month. Reality finally caught up to my mentality. I'm there. It was the best thing ever to finally happen. And congratulations on 5.5 years sober.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I bet your family's really psyched too that you got the job.
Oh, my wife cried a little, and that made me cry a little, and we were all happy.
So will you be working remote?
I will, yeah.
That's good. So that kind of gives you a little more time
Mm-hmm.
at home too. So that's a good thing.
I'll get to, most days I'll get to take my daughter to and from school, and that would be great.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, we can kind of open it up to some more questions if anyone else has questions. There was one question here. So, can you talk about what you want to change for the generation after us, like for the next round of people looking to break into the field? What should we do differently?
oh, that's easy. Actively seek out people who don't have experience, who have the desire to do it. Maybe pay them a little bit more, not make them an intern, or make them a paid intern. That's fine. But give them the experience to go forward and teach them exactly what they need to do to be able to break down the gates. Because there are gatekeepers out there right now, and they're the ones who are making it very difficult for people to join the industry. It's not so much of the fact, oh, there's a talent shortage, there's a ton of job openings, there's this, there's that. No, there are people who desperately want to learn, desperately want to join the industry. I'm one of them. How do we do that? How do we bridge that gap? We seek them out where they are. And no, don't intern for free. Get paid while you're doing it. Actively realize that, hey, the higher ups need to go, look, we need this role filled. Let's hire someone with no experience, pay them a little bit less, teach them exactly what we want to do, exactly how we do things, make them really good, get them to the position we want them to be, and then pay them more. That's what we need to be doing. If I had the ability to do that right now, I would be doing that. I would be searching for people who are on TryHackMe, who don't have a job, who are doing it often, not daily, because I tried to keep a daily streak. I was on every day and it kept getting reset because I kept going 1 hour after the 24-hour time. So that's not really a good metric. You want people who are active in Discord, active on Twitter, actively wanting to learn, have the passion, have the desire. You want those people on your team. I don't care if they don't know anything. I don't care if they don't know what Nmap is. You want them on your team. Teach them, train them, pay them less, and then pay them more when they get to where you need to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. One of the things that really annoys me to see is some of the entry level positions, because from teaching and mentoring people, I've seen people that go to work somewhere, they start out entry level and they get the 2 or 3% raise per year. They don't raise them up. And companies wonder why they don't get people to stick around. I used to work with a guy at Dallas College that he was a partner in a consulting company. He was always complaining to the students, don't jump around. But the thing is, if you're there a year and you're not seeing any kind of, you know, decent increase, and you're there 2 or 3 years and you're only getting 2 or 3%, then people have to move. So I'd really like to see companies pay people based on performance instead of tenure, uh, kind of like where I know people that work at companies that, oh yeah, you can't be moved to that level. You've only been here a year or two, but yet they're outperforming certain people that are senior level. So companies really need to be more performance based, because if you want to get people up to speed quicker, performing better, kind of, give them some incentive to get, better faster than otherwise, what's the incentive? And, they really got to move on somewhere else to continue to make more money or get a decent salary.
Or even just learn. Some people just desperately want to learn. And if your company is willing to teach, they're willing to stay. You treat someone right, they will stay.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually it's education and money are two of the biggest things there, because you can't expect someone. I mean, I know a guy that I just don't understand why he stays where he's at, but he's been there for I don't know how many years now, and he's started out entry level, still making a small paid, jumps. I mean, he's like under $70,000, but if he left, he could easily be making 120 or 130 a year.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know why he doesn't move.
Sometimes the money is worth it. In that case, 60 grand a year more would be worth it.
Yeah, and this person has 3 kids too. Two step kids and one of his own.
Oh, wow. All right. But yes, don't intern for free. Your work should be paid.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people agreeing with me here, so I'm glad.
Yeah, I agree. I think most companies, you'd have to watch out for the people that want to let you intern for free, because just about any company I've worked for that did internships,
Mm-hmm.
they did pay you something. You were getting paid something for it. I mean, that's just taking advantage. I know people are getting experience, but it looks better for the interns too. If it's a paid internship, it's going to be better for the person going through the internship, because, otherwise you intern for free, you got the experience. It's always better if you can get paid something for it.
Yep. I mean, I'd intern for the Cyber Mentor for free, but that's neither here nor there. What did you do to avoid getting burnt out? Well, I kind of wish Joe was here to answer that, because he's had to tell me to stop a few times. I would be sitting there sending a message on Discord and just furious, pissed off, just angry, because I'm like so frustrated at this one machine. It's simple, local file inclusion. Couldn't find it. Just angry, angry, angry. And Joe goes, "So you're done for a week. Come back next Monday." And then he like messaged me every day. "You're not hacking, right? You're taking the week off?" Simple as that. Just take some time. Sometimes you need it. It's like I said before, you can be motivated, you can be dedicated, but sometimes you do need that time off for you. It's not all about go, go, go. Go take a walk. Go work out. So, just take a week, take a few days, go from there.
Yeah, you definitely want to control it. You don't want to get to where you hate it, because if you keep getting burnt out and you don't do something about it, then you know, you're going to grow to hate it. And you don't want to do that. You want to kind of manage that.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like to compare things to is sports analogies. If you take long distance runners, different athletes, they've got different training blocks set up and they schedule in some rest. Otherwise, you're going to get overtrained and get injured.
Oh yeah.
And in the case of education, you're going to get burnt out and you're going to hate it. And then just trying to come back from that can be tough.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of reading Ghost's comments here and there.
Mhm.
And One thing I'll say when it comes to finally getting a job is you can learn everything you want, but if you've got no one in your corner, it's going to be very hard. I did the work, I learned, I got a CVE, I got certificates, I got a degree, but it's that last little bit I needed to network. I had Joe putting me out there. The Cyber Mentor blasted me out on Twitter and LinkedIn one day. And from there, I got a lot of interviews. And there's a friend of mine, the Getch is what he goes by. He finally, I don't know if he had seen anything from Heath or Joe or not, but he had finally actually commented on something, a job opening. It was from a colleague of his, a former colleague of his, I should say. And that colleague had me apply to the job that I'm currently in or starting now. And that was the difference maker, was just having that one last person who I had become friends with over time through networking, through Twitter. Actually, he found me on Twitter and we had since become friends. He just commented, "Hey, I think Mike would be a great fit." That was that. Had I not networked, had I not met the Getch, never would have happened. And the failed job interviews are a great experience. Exactly.
Yeah, very true. That's practice. The more interviews you get, the more experience you get. If you don't get that experience, then you're not. It's going to get harder to be, difficult to become good at interviewing.
It is. So people have been asking me, and I kind of hope some of them are on through direct messages on Twitter or on LinkedIn, whatever. They're saying, "What exactly did you do to get the job you have right now?" I don't even know. I just kind of threw stuff at a wall and hoped something stuck. I just kept going, kept trying. What can you do exactly? I don't know. What do they say? Luck is where preparation meets timing,
Opportunity. Yeah.
opportunity. Yeah, that was it. So it wasn't so much that I got lucky. It was so much that I had prepared really hard, and then the opportunity was there, and it just kind of meshed together.
The major things I see that you're doing is working very hard at networking, and you're sticking with it. So you applied for 80 some odd jobs,
87.
87, and you got 30 interviews, the 30 something interviews. That's good.
Mhm.
That's what you got to do. You can't, if you apply for one job and you're not getting a job, that's your problem there. It doesn't hurt to, and the way these, networking is a better way because you can get someone the resume, they can get it to the hiring manager easier. But
Mhm.
the way they've got the process set up to apply for jobs and stuff, you can, send out a lot of resumes. You can apply for a lot of jobs. Just keep at it. You're gonna get the opportunities. That's kind of what I did was speaking at conferences. I would submit a lot of CFPs, and I'd submit like a few, and I didn't hear anything, but I just started submitting to every conference that come along, and I started getting opportunities to speak at conferences. And that's kind of what you have. That's kind of the same thing with the job.
Mhm. Exactly. So Hack Sky has a comment, but I like Don's as well. That's a .011 batting average. Doesn't matter. You just need that one hit to get that home run, right? So,
Yep.
hey, Stay Blazing said that too. And then Hex Guy just asked, failed interviews always makes me feel like I've failed or there's something wrong with me. How did you avoid that negativity during interviewing? Pro tip, I didn't. I thought I sucked. I really did. I'm sitting here going, man, I should have done this. Man, I should have done that. I didn't answer this fully. I didn't answer this correctly. I was confident this was the right answer, and man, was I wrong. Um, but then there were sometimes I straight up was honest with the guys too. I went, look, I would have bet money what I just said, and I was obviously more professional than that. I said I would have bet money this answer was correct. Can you tell me the right answer? I'll write it down. What's up, Mayor? We've been talking about you. Um, the other thing I did, honestly, was I just realized that I had put so much time and effort into doing this that even if I felt awful and I felt like I failed, I felt that I owed it to my family to just keep going no matter what. I felt it that my wife had put up with so much and just kept going was the only option. Keep moving forward. Whatever. I don't do grammar right now, apparently. So,
Husky Hacks had a good comment there. Also, it's worth noting that the interviewer is never the arbitrator of the universe. It's entirely possible that the interviewer is just following the path of least resistance, asking BS questions and displaying no interpersonal intelligence.
yep.
And yeah, I think something else you have to look at that when you look at this too. It's just like friendships or relationships. You know, when you date several people and there's no chemistry, but then you find someone that does, and that's kind of like jobs and relationships. You know, you come along, there's going to be some manager out there that's going to like you, really want you to work for them. You're a fit for their team. So
Yep.
sometimes it's just a matter of someone's going to come along and they're going to think you're awesome. It's just a matter of finding that right place.
Yep. Joe's comment made me smile. He knows how hard I've been working, so that means a lot to me. Um, the team that I'm on right now, I haven't started my job yet, but the team that I'm going to be on, I actually interviewed with all of them, and it went from feeling like an interview to feeling like new friends, people that I'm actually clicking with, and I think that helped push me over the edge as well. And English is hard, Grimmy, but um, but you're right. It yeah. Sorry, I can just.
So it's just the key takeaways here is just to keep trying and networking. So that's definitely.
So Joe was actually one day about I don't know a month ago, 2 months ago, was comforting me. I had told him that I felt really confident about this interview, and that I was so like I nailed everything. I was on it, and they dismissed me right away. The job that I got recently hired to, the second interview, the technical interview, I was miserable. Um, oh, that's nice, Mayor. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, Joe has actually become a pretty good friend of mine over the course of this whole time. Like I said, I met him June of 2019, I think it was, and we've become friends, and I'm very thankful for his friendship. And just like he said in the past, he's thankful for mine. At least I'm putting words in his mouth right now. Um, but the second interview that I had at this job that I just got, I missed every question. I told them, they asked me a question, I don't know. They asked me another question, I don't know. I don't know. They asked me another question, I don't know. But I also told them that I'm going to write down every question that they've asked me. And the next time we talk, if there's next time, I will know the answer. Next time came, I knew every answer. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. If you're going to learn, that's all they care about. Just be honest with them. Say, I'm writing it down. I will know next time.
It's great advice. So we got about 6 minutes left. So if anyone has any questions or if you have any kind of final thoughts or anything you'd like to mention that we haven't covered.
Thanks, Hex Guy. So by the way, Hex Guy, he's been a good friend of mine also. He's been a big motivation here and there when I've needed him. So I appreciate his friendship a lot. Do you think age matters? No. No, I don't. Hey, you know what, Joe? You get to brag. And no, age does not matter. If you're willing to learn, that's really all that goes for it. I got my first job at 33, my first IT job. I turned 34 in March of next year. So I went back to school at 27, almost 28. So Husky Hacks, he's a big reason that I actually have my CVE. He helped me out with something and I just found something he didn't. And that's so Husky is a big is a real good friend as well.
Yeah, as far as age goes, I've got a friend of mine that was 50 when he got his first pen test job. Yeah, I had one of my students from the college where I taught. She had like degrees and stuff, but no actual technical experience, and she is like late 40s, 50 or so when she got her very first pen test job. And her first job was in pen testing, kind of like you, just the very first job. So
I think it's cool that I can go from pool man to pen tester. I think
yeah,
that's just so fun to be able to say.
yeah,
So,
yep.
I mean, not as cool as professional wrestler to pen tester, but whatever.
Someone said that's your tagline,
Yep.
Cybertish.
I've been using it. I'm gonna use it forever.
So Cybertish is going to be Baker from Baker to pen tester. So
That's cool. Mayor went from uh, military to bootlegger to mayor to pen tester, policeman, paramedic. He's done everything. So the Hacker Maker, thank you for giving my man a chance to tell his story.
Oh, you're most welcome. These stories are very helpful, and that's one of the reasons I do my podcast too. Is this is stuff that helps motivate people. I like to help people get started, and sometimes it's just these stories like this that motivate someone. I mean, this could be the story that helps someone continue on that's about ready to give up. So
Yeah. And that's my wife right there, the one that just made that last comment. She's been really like a couch potato pen tester. Thanks, Grammy. Nellers, she's been a huge inspiration. Like I've said it before, I can say it till I'm blue in the face. I love my wife. She has been through it all with me, and she's awesome. So, Cybertish, I'm glad that I was able to at least brighten your day a little. Yeah, I'm not touching a pool forever. Get away from me.
maybe use one, but not clean it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now it's time to have enjoy the pool instead of cleaning it. So that's
Yeah. So
yeah. So this was awesome. Thanks for joining. I was great to hear your story and your success. So congrats on that.
thank you.
Look forward to following your journey and see where you go from here.
I can't wait to see what happens. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I got to talk to one of my former students the week before last. Yeah, we guess is the week before last. Got to see him. Uh, he was like a police officer. He was a retired LA police officer, and he got his first pen testing job November last year. And it was
Okay.
really cool to listen to what he's learned. He's he's like you. He works really hard and has worked really hard to learn, but it's just really cool to see what he's learned so far.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of cool too. I've had pen tests before. That one student that I mentioned that was like that she is around 50. Then another student of mine, she is about half her age. It was kind of cool. One time last year, the company I worked for, we just focused on red team and network pen test, but we hired third party companies to do our web app pen test because we had so much pen testing to do and we really didn't have time to mess with it. But it's really cool to see emails coming from a couple of your former students
Yeah,
that
I
they're
bet.
about on the pen test. So it's a pretty cool moment.
That is pretty awesome. Kind of like what Joe said, it's hard to be humble when your students get jobs.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Well, thanks everyone for joining. I guess we're going to call it good unless anyone has another question. Yeah, thanks for everyone for joining, and thanks to your wife for joining.
yeah, Zap Gang. I use Zap because I can't afford Burp Pro. I like Zap though, so whatever.
That's okay. You'll get your chance to use Burp, but yeah, it's
Oh,
good to know other tools too. You know, Zap is
yeah.
a good tool.
Oh, Grimmy has a question.
Okay.
So when are you gonna get me a job next? Tell you what, let me start my job and then we'll talk. So thank you for having me, Phil. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for joining, and thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.